Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, in that order. Welcome everyone. Going to do a news and notes video here, and these are four items from around the hobby that I thought were really interesting, but sort of not quite worthy of their own video. So just going to put them all into one video here. But before we get into those, I want to mention that I'll be at the Burbank Card Show this Saturday, Burbank, California. It's my first time going to this show. I'm really excited about it, but I'll only be there for one day on Saturday, but I'll be there with the one and only Jeremy Donson, the Texas Snowman. We'll be there together on Saturday. He's going to be there on Friday as well, and we actually got a booth. We sort of stumbled onto it. A dealer canceled last minute. They offered it to us, and we're like, we're only going to be there 1 or 2 days. They said, no problem, you can have the booth. Anyway, so we'll have a booth. Please come by and say hi. We always love that, and obviously if you have any cards you'd be interested in selling us or a collection, please bring it by. You can also contact us, if you want to set something up, like an appointment beforehand. I've included Jeremy's phone number. You can call or text him, or you can email me. All that's in the description below if you want to set something up. But yeah, hope to see a bunch of you there. Really, really looking forward to it. All right, but the first of our four news and notes items, I guess we'll call this one a note, is about a 1993 SP Derek Jeter. And I recently looked at collections. One had a PSA 9 and another had a BGS 9. These are two separate collections. I actually ended up buying neither, but I just so happened to look up the values of both those cards in a very, very short time frame, and I was very, very surprised by what I found. Today a PSA 9 is going to outsell a BGS 9 for the most. I'm not talking about on a Jeter. I'm talking about on a random card. You would expect a PSA 9 to outsell a BGS 9. A few years ago they would be pretty close, but today, Beckett's gone down a little bit, so PSA 9s are going to outsell BGS 9s. It's going to range, of course, but maybe in the ballpark of like 50% higher, maybe as high as 2x the PSA 9 versus the BGS 9. But something was strange about this card. So a PSA 9 sells for about $4,000 today. Lots of recent sales to sort of back that up. And a BGS 9 sells for about $600. Also, lots of recent sales to back that up. So the PSA 9 sells for about 7 times the BGS 9. That is, quite an incredible multiplier on the same grade of a card from two different, credible grading companies. And the prices really just has this discrepancy on the 9, and a 10. But you see price discrepancies like that on 10s from time to time. But on a 9, I can't remember seeing one on a 9. If you go to lower grades, like the prices is almost neutralized. For example, a PSA 7 sells for about 120 and a BGS 7 sells for about 100. They're only 20% off. But here, a 7x multiplier for the PSA 9 over the BGS 9. I've just found, interesting, confusing, whatever you want to say. I did check out the pop report, and that does explain a lot of it. PSA's graded the card 24,000 times and only given about 622 nines. That's less than 3%. Beckett, on the other hand, has graded it actually a similar number of times, almost 19,000, and they've given out over 3,000 nines, which is 17%. So Beckett giving out a lot more nines than PSA on this card. Now, it's a very condition-sensitive card, so I don't really know what to make of that, but it's that's a pretty big discrepancy. PSA at 3% giving out nines and Beckett at 17% giving out nines. I'm not sure exactly how to explain that, but if anyone has any thoughts on that, would love to hear about it in the comments below. All right, next item is a news item, and just a quick one. GemRate data is out for January, and GemRate is a company that tracks data on the grading companies, and it's really great data. Here's just how many cards were graded in the month of January. And this chart here is just the sports cards, so it does not include Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, non-sports, stuff like that. But you can see PSA graded 660,000, SGC up big this month for them, 141,000, Beckett 29, and CGC 20. Now, PSA is about half sports and non-sports at this point, so their total graded cards is double this for the month of January, roughly, and CGC is actually much more big into non-sports, so that number would go up. But anyway, this is just for sports cards, and, don't know that I have a big analysis here, just thought it was something interesting. SGC set their all-time monthly record with the most cards ever graded in a single month. PSA is right about in line with their record. So grading just continues to go up and up and up. Like I've mentioned a few times now, this just sort of baffles me, as to me there's fewer and fewer cards that it makes sense to grade given how far prices have fallen and how strict some of the companies have got. But yeah, grading just continues to go up. In terms of market share, here's what that looks like from the four grading companies on a pie chart. You can see PSA is just still the total behemoth, having over, roughly 80% of all the market share. They've got the Pac-Man shaped wedge there, where the other guys are sort of fighting for a much smaller piece. All right, next item is another news item, and it's an incredibly impressive sale on this 2022 Bowman University Superfractor autograph, Caitlin Clark. This card set a number of records. It's graded PSA Gem Mint 10 and with a 10 for the auto. Being a superfractor, it is a 1 of 1, as superfractors tend to be. Caitlin Clark, just absolutely blowing up, college basketball. It looks to be, potentially one of the most impactful female athletes in recent memory. This card sold on PWCC for $78,000. And this set, like I said, set a number of records. It's the all-time record sale for any female basketball card. It's also the all-time record sale of any female athlete card not named Serena Williams. $78,000 here for the Caitlin Clark. My research department pulled an all-nighter on this one and could only find 2 cards of female athletes ever to outsell the Caitlin Clark. First is this 1999 Sports Illustrated for Kids Serena Williams, which topped out at $117,000 for a PSA 10 in January of 2022. There was another sale of a PSA 10 for $95K around the same time. And this 2003 Net Pro International Series apparel autograph Serena Williams. This copy in a PSA 8 with a DNA 10 for the auto sold for $266,000 in a Goldin auction in May of 2022. That sale's pretty remarkable. I don't want to say hard to believe, but right around the same time frame, a BGS 9, so a better grade, went for well less than half, $105,000. But all these do, register as completed sales. So those were the 2 cards that, sold higher than the Caitlin Clark of a female athlete, and there were actually 2 examples of each. But really cool sale here on the Caitlin Clark. Congrats to Miss Clark and to the buyer and the seller. All right, and the last one is another note, and it's another one I found out about just recently. And for those who don't know, the PSA Set Registry is a place on the PSA website where you can track your collection and see how close you are to completing sets, and not just like a year's set, but like player runs or team runs, or there's various different sets you can put together. It's not something I use very often, but once in a while, and it's a very, very popular tool in the hobby. And one of the more popular categories of sets are the Hall of Fame sets. This is just for baseball, but you can collect the the rookie card of every Hall of Famer, or every Hall of Fame manager, or every Hall of Famer for a specific team, or every Hall of Famer from a specific year, or whatever. But the one I just found out about recently is the Future Hall of Fame players set, and this is a list of 44 key rookie cards of 44 players that PSA is calling Future Hall of Famers. When I heard about that, I thought that was pretty interesting. Players that they think will be in the Hall of Fame one day. So I went and looked at the list, and I gotta say, I'm not sure that I agree with their list. So just wanted to go through it here, make some comments, and would love to hear all of your comments about it as well. So I split this into 2 pages, 22 players on each page. Part 1 here is, part 1's really where some of the more questionable ones come up. Starting at the top, Pete Rose. I mean, if we're just talking about, do I think he's going to get in? Not do I think he should get in, or do you think he should get in? Will he likely get in? I mean, he's been banned from baseball for 35 years, and there's really been he's never been close. So I don't, it seems like a reach, but I guess it's reasonable to include him here. Dick Allen, Thurman Munson, Dave Parker, Dale Murphy, and Lou Whitaker. Those all seem like quality. Some point down the road, they'll get elected via the era committees. The next 3 are PED guys: Clemens, McGuire, Bonds. I mean, those, I would say they're trending to not ever make it, but it's certainly possible. Gary Sheffield and Sammy Sosa and Manny Ramirez, more PED guys that, numbers-wise probably belong, but there would just need to be a shift in the whole thinking for these players to have any sort of chance to get in, and there may be one day. Kurt Schilling and Omar Vizquel, both sort of had off-the-field stuff that kept them out or are keeping them out. Kurt Schilling is probably a good one to have on here. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets elected one day. Omar Vizquel, I would say, is less likely for sure. Juan Gonzalez is sort of a strange one to have on here. I was actually a huge Juan Gonzalez fan, but his career numbers are not. I mean, they're close, but I would say they're short of Hall of Fame worthy, and he was a PED guy, so I'd say Juan Gonzalez is a long shot. Jeff Kent, maybe, but I would not predict that Jeff Kent will eventually get in, although I guess it's certainly possible. A-Rod's in the McGuire, Clemens, Bonds camp. Billy Wagner got in this year, so that's obviously a good one. Andrew Jones is trending to eventually make it. Carlos Beltran's trending to eventually make it as well. Miguel Tejada's another strange one, kind of like Juan Gonzalez. I mean, his numbers are short of Hall of Fame worthy, and he was a PED guy, so there would need to be like a major shift in thinking. And then on top of that, they would sort of have to flukishly get voted in anyway. So Miguel Tejada and Juan Gonzalez, I would say, are the two sort of worst picks for this list. And by the way, if you're going to have Sammy Sosa and Gary Sheffield and Miguel Tejada and Juan Gonzalez, then you got to have Rafael Palmeiro. Where's Palmeiro? Palmeiro's career was as good or better than, you know, most of them. But last one on here, CC Sabathia, and yeah, that's a good one. Page 2 is more solid. These are newer players. Most of them are not in because they're not eligible yet. Miguel Cabrera, Ichiro, Albert Pujols, Zach Greinke. Yeah, those are all locks. Joey Votto, that's a good one. Robinson Cano, and then a couple down, Nelson Cruz are sort of the two most questionable ones on this page, I would say. They're sort of in the Juan Gonzalez, Miguel Tejada camp. They're both PED guys, and they're both sort of borderline at best career, you know, players anyway. So, you know, Cano and Cruz, I would say, are long shots. Yadimir Molina, that makes sense. Verlander, obviously. Kershaw and Scherzer, of course. Buster Posey got in this year, so he's already in. Giancarlo Stanton, he's a future Hall of Famer, most likely. Freddie Freeman, Paul Goldschmidt, those are definites. Jose Altuve, I wouldn't have thought of him as like a lock future Hall of Famer, but not a bad pick. Mike Trout, obviously. Manny Machado, obviously. Nolan Arenado, yes. Mookie Betts, yes. And the last two are sort of interesting. Jacob deGrom obviously reached greatness in his career, but his career totals are incredibly low. I don't know how the voters will sort of handle that, but Aaron Judge seems like a reasonable pick, although it kind of seems a little early. He's only, 7 years into his career. You know, if you're going to put Judge, I guess you would need to put like Ohtani as well, but not really complaining about that one. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed, and would love to hear people's thoughts about the Hall of Fame thing, and also the Jeter thing, like what's going on there. But hope to see some of you out at the Burbank Card Show, and yeah, until next time, have a great day. Thanks, everyone.